gameranx presents another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some straight up gameplay and some first impressions of the latest games releasing. As always, I'm Jake Baldino, and today I'm talking about Am Setsuna. This is a PC, PlayStation 4, Square Enix JRPG from newcomer developers Tokyo RPG Factory. This game is kind of basically a giant love letter to Super Nintendo and early PlayStation JRPGs. It's very, very evocative of Chrono Trigger in many, many ways, and I think that's both a good thing and a bad thing. Right from the outset, the game manages to feel incredibly familiar. The main character's color tones remind you of Chrono, and there's airships, and most character types really feel like Final Fantasy tropes. Not to mention the game even has a swordsman character that looks just like Auron from Final Fantasy X. The game teeters on this precipice of homage and celebration, and kind of almost veers into feeling like a derivative copy, but I think it's really down to you guys here. I think it's going to depend on the individual fan playing the game to really see how you feel about that. But the actual game here is totally a classic JRPG through and through. You know, you'll read dialogue, explore local villages, go through dungeons, forests, and caves, walk across world maps, manage your party, and engage in ATB, or active time battle combat. The ATB combat is good, and it's pretty familiar. Each character can use techs, which are basically their version of magic abilities, and there's also this mechanic involving using abilities together with your party for an added bonus effect when all ATB gauges are full. And then of course there's the other standard stuff, equipping each character with items to add to those abilities and stats, and then there's also weapon loot and weapon upgrading. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys, the majority of the ATB system here feels exactly like Chrono Trigger. There's the Am Setsuna layer of additions here, but the actual core is straight up Chrono Trigger, and that was actually intended by the developers. It's a kind of simple but fun combat system, and I was actually pleasantly surprised when it got pretty challenging in a lot of situations. Town exploration is relatively simple and honestly maybe leaving a bit to be desired. There's some NPC interactions, treasure chests, and merchants. There's not really an inn type of mechanic, which I found kind of disappointing, and it's sorely missed. There is some very light side questing thing here and there with exploring different islands, but there's not really much to write home about. And speaking of the lack of the inn mechanic I just mentioned, you can save at save points, but they are very far and few between. You can also save in the overworld map because the game does not autosave, and I gotta admit, it's pretty awesome most of the time. Except for a large hump in the beginning tutorial of the game where the tutorial basically concludes with a very challenging enemy, and if you die, you get pushed back very far because chances are you forgot your save, and that's really going to annoy some JRPG newcomers. But otherwise, the systems work really well, and I always find it refreshing to play a game that doesn't hold your hand. It's nice. They really took the throwback to the 90s seriously, and I appreciate that. I'd say the real high point here is the story. It tells this tale of a girl named Setsuna who must sacrifice herself in an annual sacrificial pilgrimage of sorts in order to free the world from monsters, and it's up to her and her loyal band of protectors to see her mission through. Yeah, does that sound familiar? Yeah, it's totally Final Fantasy X. But on the flip side, characters here are what makes things great. Sure, you know, they're kind of the archetypes you commonly see in other JRPGs, but they're all endearing enough characters, they're well written, and the game has a great way of articulating gentle and emotional moments. I was very surprised with how tonally well done some moments of levities were. The only downside to all of this here is that the main protagonist is a completely forgettable, generic, lifeless character. His look doesn't even really quite fit in. He looks like a badass ninja. But thankfully, he gives way to highlight the other great character moments, and I think that's where it ultimately works. This is a very sad tale that has a lot to do with death and your destiny and what you're supposed to do with your life, but it all handles it very well and it never gets too down. The game also looks and sounds pretty amazing. The three-dimensional overhead view is perfect with a bunch of different details and particle effects, like snow actually moving around and leaves rustling, but here the sound is easily the most unique part of the entire game. The majority of the music here is composed almost entirely on a single piano, and it gives the game like this really quirky, interesting, almost junior high school play sound to everything. It's really cool to engage in a battle and the music is just some guy wailing on a piano. It's really fun and unique for moments like that, but it can also be beautiful in the more serious moments, you know? Another downside here is that it is a short game for JRPG standards. You can complete it in under 20 hours. So it's a total love letter to JRPGs, and I mostly think it's worth it, as long as you don't mind some rehashed elements here and there. But like I said earlier, to most people it's gonna come off more celebratory than copycatting. I think it's a very good game, not amazing game. So if you're not a big fan of these experiences, I can't recommend running out the door immediately and buying this $40 game, but if you love JRPGs, maybe give it a shot. Like I said earlier, it's on PC and PlayStation 4, and there was a US Vita version planned, but unfortunately they scrapped it. And for me and the 10 other people that own Vitas, that's really disappointing because this game is perfect for that handheld. So guys, that's I Am Setsuna. I told you basically what the game is, some pros and cons, and some personal feelings from me. And now I want to hear how you guys feel about this game. Are you interested? Are you curious? Does this tickle your JRPG fancy? Have you played it or spent any time with it? Do you think it's good? Do you think I'm right? I think everyone's going to be a little bit mixed on this one, but I think JRPG fans are going to be excited. So I do want to hear from all of you guys down in the comments, and you guys know the deal if you want to talk about it down there. We can also talk on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Jake Baldino if you follow me. Clicking the like button helps me out a ton. It lets us do more and more before you buys, and subscribing if you're new is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.